Should you go to Disney World? Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about should you go to Disney World? But before we continue, I feel like there's something missing. Let's see. Much better. So I have my silver ears. I love these. I just got these. These are brand new. And I love them. Okay, now we can start. So, should you go to Disney World? Now, there are a couple of different factors. I can't really answer if you should go. I can't say yes or no. And I don't really want to do that. What I do want you to think about are pros and cons. Make a pros and cons list for yourself, because my list will be different from yours and from anybody else's. So let's talk about the cons. It is not cheap to go to Disney World. So if you have some money saved aside and you want to go on a vacation, you want to think about what you really want to do on your vacation. If it's just Disney, then you got to think about how many people are going, park passes, how much that's going to be. That can run you a family of 5. Anybody above the age of 3 has to pay. That's roughly around $100 and something. Yes, there's some deals every so often, so I would recommend looking at that and not just completely just paying out of pocket right away with the first price you see. But at least that can run you about almost $500 to $600 on just one day at the parks. Now, the longer you go and the longer you stay, if you go multiple times to a park, let's say you want to go to all 4, they're 4-day passes and the price goes down. So then it'll still run you, the price will go down per day. Now, let's say it'll go down to $90. Then you would multiply that by 5. So you do have some savings there. Sometimes it's like $75, $65. You do have to check the website to see how much a 4-day pass will run you. Now, this last time I did a 4-day pass, we did go to the parks 4 times. But I found that this next time that I go, I may not go to all 4 parks, but it's still cheaper for me to buy a 4-day pass than it would be to buy them individually and separate days. So you do have to kind of run some numbers to really get the best deal. Along with the park passes, you're going to want to eat. You're going to want to buy some merchandise. You're going to want to, spend some additional money depending on where you're going. Also, depending where you're staying. You can stay at a resort at Disney World, which would run you a pretty penny. You can stay off property and find some better deals. If you stay off property, do you rent a car? Do you drive to Florida and have your own car? Do you need to Uber or Lyft to these parks, which is an extra expense? So I would really run down what your to-do list will be. If you're on a lower budget, then I would consider going to one park. Do Magic Kingdom, especially if you haven't gone in a while. I think Magic Kingdom is probably the best park to go to. There's so much to do there for all different ages, different level of rides. I mean, you can really have a great time at Magic Kingdom and not feel like you missed out at the Disney World experience with the other parks, I feel. Epcot's not very heavy on the Disney part. Hollywood Studios is limited as well. And Animal Kingdom is also pretty limited. It has parks have great theming, but if you really want that Disney Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, I think princess-like, you get the castle, you could really have a great vacation with just doing Magic Kingdom. There's plenty of other things to do in Florida, and maybe you want to go to a beach, or you have to Orlando. If you're staying in central Orlando, you're gonna have to travel out a little bit, but there's plenty to do. So really, cons, expensive. Weather is a part of cons as well. It is hot in Florida. If you're not from a hot state and you're not used to it, it could be a bit jarring, okay? It could be unexpected heat that, like, yes, you may have summer where you are. I have summer where I am, but my summer does not compare to a Florida summer. So be prepared. If you can only go during school vacation times, usually that lands on very hot weather, summer vacation. You might not want to go during that time. Now, during this current climate of a pandemic, you might not want to go because of COVID, which is completely understandable. You know, a lot of people have decided not to go, one, for the safety, but also because wearing a mask does feel different. And having to wear a mask the entire time, you know, you might feel like you're not getting the full experience. Some things are still not open. So to pay all that money to not really do it the way you used to do it is a con, for sure. Long lines. So you go on a ride, you want to ride the ride, you realize that you have to stand in a line for 2 hours. That's a con. You know, maybe that's not what you want to do during a vacation. You don't want to wait in these lines just to do a 2-minute ride. Understandable. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about the pros, okay? Now, I personally think weather as well. I went to Florida and I love going to Florida during the holidays. And when it's winter up here, it's actually not that bad. It's beautiful over there. It's, you know, 70, 80. It can get cold. So bring a long sleeve, bring some hoodies, be prepared for that. But the weather can be really nice on non-summer months. And it's a good change. It's a nice change from if you're coming from a cold state. The merchandise, yes, it's expensive, but like I said, you can buy things on sale. There are always sales going on from previous events. You can budget yourself ahead of time and save a few extra dollars, is what I did when I wanted a Spirit jersey. I made sure that I had some extra cash for that specifically, and I saved up for it because they're expensive. But if you can plan ahead, especially if you have some kids that you want, you can say, you know, you get $50 to spend, choose it wisely. All these things that really you can buy anything from $3 and up. And during seasonal changes, like I went, it was the end of the year, Christmas was over, but I was still there when Christmas was over. So the sales dropped and I bought things for $1 because it was no longer 2020. It was no longer Christmas. So you can really enjoy kind of some shopping without breaking the bank. The food. Disney World has gotten way better with food. It used to be simple. I remember going as a kid and they would have like McDonald's French fries carts, which, not gonna lie, some people really want them back. But they've done way better with food since. And yes, it can be expensive, but again, you plan accordingly and you know that you're going to have lunch there and you can save up for a certain meal. There's plenty of different dining plans that you can choose from as well that might help you. I personally prefer not to go on the dining plan only because I like to choose what I eat and not feel like I am forced to eat. We did that once with Universal and we barely touched it. Surprisingly, I don't know if it's the adrenaline, the excitement you get at a park, but you don't really get hungry. You can fill up on one meal and be fine. So we used to just do lunch and that would carry us over until we got back to the hotel. If we were gonna stay till late, let's say 10 o'clock, and we had lunch at 12, yeah, we'd get something, but it would be around like 8, 9 o'clock. So it does hold you over if you pick the right meals. Now, if you're snacking all day, that can add up. So just keep that in mind. We talked about the lines as a con, but the pro is the ride. You know, especially if you've never done them, they are unique. They're not just some simple, you know, Six Flags kind of ride, to me at least. They're very well themed and they're just getting better and better over the years. So with any new rides coming up, I can only imagine how incredible they're going to be. But even when you go back to the basics and you do the teacups and, you know, and you do Winnie the Pooh and the simple rides, but they're so well themed that if you love a specific character, there's something there for you, no matter where you go. And of course, you know, memories. I think that's a pro. You make different memories going to the parks, and I really enjoy that. I think every time I go, it's a different experience every time that I go, even though it's the same park. There's always something different going on, especially when you go in a large crowd. I like going in large like family groups because everybody experiences everything differently. And I'm usually the planner, so I can say, oh, look, I found this for you, and this is for you. We're gonna do this, and see everyone's excitement. And so that to me is one of the biggest pros of it. And the older that Emmett gets, my son, you know, I can't wait to see where he's telling me, let's go to Buzz Lightyear, that's my favorite, I want to go there first, or let's go to Haunted Mansion, or let's do this, let's do that. Because again, that's going to be a whole different experience when he is planning the trip and he is dictating, no, I want to do this first, I want to do that first, because we've already done it as an adult. So why not just let him kind of run the show? And that's going to be really fun. So I can't wait for that to happen as well. So we talked about our pros and cons. It's important to write them down. Some of the cons are very valid, and the pros are valid too. So really, it's up to you whether you think you should go to Disney World. But the biggest thing that I can tell you, that if you do go, to have the best experience is to plan ahead. Do your research. There are plenty of videos out there. And if you choose that Disney World is not right for you for this vacation, that's okay too. But hopefully at some point you're thinking about going. Okay, so I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you watched, and I hope this information was useful. And thanks for being a part of my world.